operate. Are we? Yeah, are we? Are we? Really? Are we? Yeah, right there. We're live. Boy, if you have been... Look who's here. Yeah, in studio. First time since the draft. So it means he's alive. He's not in a hospital or on the side of a road somewhere. But if you've been kind of pining, chewing your nails, wondering, why did Stars president Brad Alberts tweet out another eyeball emoji? He's done that before. Well, we know the answer. Stars Hall of Fame. We'll get to that and a brief history of Brad's eyeball emoji tweets right now on DLLS. It is Wednesday. It is July 23rd. This is the DLLS Stars podcast. And before we get into today's show, a quick reminder for those of you that don't know, because this is the first time we're telling you, it is a $36 Diehard sales event going on because of Cowboys Training Camp. Limited time. That's right. You can become a Diehard for a fraction of the regular annual cost. Not only is Clarence Hill, our beat writer for the Cowboys, out there in Oxnard covering every day, the entirety of camp, but the DLS Cowboys show will be out streaming on site from Oxnard August 11th through the 14th. So make sure to check out those shows as they are out in California. I believe that's 2 weeks away, if I did my math. It might have been 3. I mean, who can say? In addition to that, of course, go to alldls.com/intro to get your introductory offer, $36 for the first year. You get a free t-shirt. Well, why not jump on the new Dallas collection? New merch drop from last week. And if you want one of those shirts, you can get it for free signing up to be a diehard. Or, of course, existing diehards can get it with a 20% discount. Well, welcome back. You got to show the actual, you showed the back of it.
Oh, yeah, the back. It doesn't show the thing. I got
nothing
it.
there.
Barbecue, baby.
Sam's got a shirt. He's ready to wear it maybe tomorrow. There it goes. Sam's back. He's here. Craig Ludwig is here. He's in Wisconsin. All right, before we get into the big topic, how was the move?
It was good, actually. Less dramatic stories than I usually have when it comes to traveling. I think we stayed in Blacksburg, Virginia the first night, Virginia Tech, which is a cool campus. I've never been there. Cool to see the stadium. And then Nashville, second night, was sending you boys some pictures out. Stayed out later than I wanted to. Had more drinks than I wanted to, but good to see some country music.
I don't think Luds believes any of that.
I did. I was drinking whiskey and Coke, Luds.
No, that's a bunch of BS.
Just saying. Hey, just saying. No seltzers or anything. I was doing the hard stuff, but no, it was fun. Good. Rained pretty much the entire drive, all 3 days, so that was great. But we got here yesterday morning.
Today's Wednesday.
Yep. So yesterday, and got Katie into my apartment. There's more stuff than we have room for, but
welcome to it.
Good. Excited to be here.
So Luds, as Sam will probably quickly find out, all the room for his fiance's stuff will be made probably at the expense of Sam's stuff.
Yeah. Do you guys got a garage?
No. We have a garbage, which
Do you have
is
a
where
dumpster?
most of my stuff is going to go.
No.
My mini hockey net, my gloves and stick for stick handling drills, all the cool stuff is already out of that apartment.
The bachelor pad is quickly no more.
Yeah.
Whatever you had set up is now out of there. All right.
Love you, Katie.
Yeah. So today's storyline, as you saw in the thumbnail, involves the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. But I want to backtrack before we get to that main topic. A bunch of people last night were wigging out. Thankfully, I wasn't paying attention to Twitter or Slack, and then I went to bed and didn't notice this because at 11:46 p.m. Central Time, Stars president Brad Alberts tweeted out this. Look at that. Eyeball emojis. And we know that he likes to tease big announcements with a very concise message.
Oh, yeah.
Is the emojis. He puts he makes Mike Heika's short lineup tweets look like they're pages and pages long. So I thought before we get to the topic of the day, which is that had to do with the announcement of the class of 2025 Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. We'll talk about that at length here in this segment and the next. But I wanted to go back in history. So let's go all the way back to November 20th, 2023. Now, you had the right one. That's not from there, but he did this one. Double eyeball emoji. This is the second time we've seen this. But the one he did in 2023 was at 4 p.m. about Mike Modano's statue plans being announced during the second period on Bally Sports Southwest. This was, again, November of 23, and then they built the statue and unveiled it in March of 24. So that was a double eyeball emoji. He actually has done that a couple of times. The next double eyeball emoji, next time he did eyeballs of any kind, was March 11th of 2024. And that was when he did two eyeballs, or double eyeballs. They announced the next day the Stars Global Series with the Florida Panthers in Finland was going to be announced. Fast forward to July 7th of last year, 8:16 at night. He does the regular eyeball emoji tweet. The next morning, the Stars announced Victory Plus streaming platform, and they're going to now do their broadcasts on Victory Plus. Now we go to September 17th, and 22 minutes after a single eyeball emoji tweet, Thomas Harley's contract extension was announced. Remember, that was Harley getting right up into training camp as an RFA, wondering if they would get it in time. Then you go a month later, he did another eyeball emoji tweet. The next day, Jake Ottinger's 8-year contract extension was announced. March 7th. Now, we showed that. That was the original eyeball emoji that we popped up on the screen. And that one was at 1:16 in the afternoon. A couple hours later, Mikko Rantanen traded to Dallas. May 4th was a different one because that one, Elijah, was the two Finnish flags. The only time he's done that, Mikko Rantanen scored a Game 7 hat trick the night before. So that was one of the few times Brad has tweeted something like this where it's after the fact instead of teasing it. Then this June at 7:40 at night, he tweeted out an eyeball emoji, and we all started thinking, jersey reveal?
A lot of things.
Right?
Outdoor game.
Well, the next day, Jim Nill was announced as the general manager of the year for the third consecutive year. And then, of course, last night, he tweeted out the eyeball emoji again. And here we are today. Oh, there's a lot of speculation about it.
Always.
None of them were right.
No.
Because the Stars class of 2025 for the Hall of Fame, Dallas Stars Hockey Hall of Fame, Joe Nieuwendyk, player, cup winner, and general manager, and play-by-play announcer Ralph Strangis will be the 2025 class. All right, lads, aside from the eyeball emojis, what was your initial reaction to the two men that you know very well getting inducted or going to be inducted this November in Dallas in the Stars Hockey Hall of Fame?
Well, you could put up another eyeball emoji at about 2:06 p.m. on July 23rd when Ludwig fell asleep and fell off the table.
Thank you.
Jesus. Oh, it is the dog days of summer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, first, I wish Brad would get his own thing, because every time I see the eyeballs, I think of somebody else, right? I mean, I'm always thinking of Kevin Weeks because he started this thing way before Brad's been doing it. And that's been Weeks he's saying, except he gets his big old forehead in a lot of those things. But, so do you want me to answer the eyeball emoji thing, or do you just want me to talk about Nui? Well,
Let's do the eyeball first.
Like I said, get something new. Find a different. Brad's been known to have like a glass of whiskey or something every once in a while. Maybe put the eyeballs in a glass of whiskey there.
Ooh.
Make it your own, Brad. Okay. I mean, again, if we're gonna go on, if we can possibly move on from the eyeball emoji thing.
I know it was riveting.
Yeah, geez. I was watching. I counted the geese though. I'm up to 27. So at least in that, you got count them. They're defecating like everywhere in my yard. I mean,
Boy,
it's
that
just
is
a
a
joke.
that is a upperclassman word right there. You don't go to North Dakota without learning words like that. Well done, Luds.
I've been known to do that during games at time too.
That's the rim shot right there.
Like, if we can move on to Nui and Ralphie, again, no brainers for me. I guess the first thing that came to mind when I saw it, I didn't see the eyeball thing. I saw, a picture of it that they had entered the Stars Hall of Fame. I'm almost looking forward to the induction thing when Razor gets up there and is announcing everybody. I can't wait for the induction thing.
Why is that, Luds?
I'm just looking forward to it. I'm just curious how it's going to go, So it just, but for Joe, obviously another fantastic move by the general managers and the upper staff and being able to bring Nui in. I mean, he was obviously. It's funny. If we wouldn't have won a Stanley Cup with that team, it would be a crime. We talk about Zuby and you talk about all these guys that came along and Sid, and I can name a whole bunch of other guys. But when Nui was there, you know what? Joe's a quiet guy. You know what I mean? Like he just goes about his business. He's not as quiet as Mo, but he's got more fire in him. And I think that when he came, again, it was another moment of going, oh yeah, we know the direction that this team is, heading down. And I remember, Nui, I had the opportunity to beat Joe in a Stanley Cup final, and that would have been in 86, 87. Nui was a rookie that year. I think he only probably played 9 or 10 games, but you could tell right then how good he was going to be. As a matter of fact, Joe walked into our locker room, and I really didn't even know this. Joe came into our alumni room, I don't know, maybe 7-8 months ago, and he had a cast on. I'm like, Nui, what's up? He goes, well, I'm finally getting the place fixed where you broke my wrist back in whatever year it was. And I think he said his rookie year, second year. Yeah, I had no idea. I know it was in front of the net. I remember
he was playing with an injury for a couple decades.
Apparently so, and imagine that. I think it's just one of those lingering things after you retire. It probably usually gets worse. So I had the opportunity with Montreal to win a championship in Calgary. So I'd never won a championship at home, like college, nothing. And then in 88, 89 or 80, I think it was 88, 89, Joe Nieuwendyk and the Calgary Flames came into Montreal and won a championship there. So won one against them, lost one to them, and then he just happened to move on and win one more than me. I think Nui's played one more game than I have in my career. I think he's got one more Hall of Fame award than I'll ever have in my career. So Joe's basically left me in the dust. But I look at it as a win to be able to have him on a team, that was in that mode of building. And I've said this before. I still feel bad for Joe when he got his first general manager job and had to come in here into Dallas, I should say. And, hey, Joe, we need you to fix our team. But you're putting handcuffs on him. And he can't, and again, because of financial things, there was really nothing he could do. And but I will say he's just a class act. Joe Nieuwendyk is a guy that should be a Hall of Famer. He should be in upper management. The way that he goes about his business on and off the ice is very professional. I mean, I look at him as being that professional kind of guy that's played his whole career and done and said and did all the right things.
He has
now Ralphie's a different story. And if you want to know
let's go to Ralph in the second.
If anybody wants to know Ralph, just go back and watch our show with Ralph.
Watch our
That's
Mando
all I got to
show.
say.
I just have to say you're absolutely right. I expected you to be. 1257 regular season games for Joe Nieuwendyk, 1256 for Craig Ludwig. He does have a few more goals and assists in his career than you do, but you also have substantially more penalty minutes than he does in his career.
Hey, Joe had more goals in a month than I had in my entire career.
Luds, I know Joe won the Conn Smythe. Luds, did you win the Conn Smythe with Montreal?
Should have.
I was close. I was up for it. but it was the bar Cheers was giving it away, so it was a different kind of Smythe.
Up next, more about Joe Nieuwendyk, and we'll get into the other Hall of Fame inductee of the class of 2025, Ralph Strangis, here on the DLS Stars podcast.
Let's talk about Vegas, because not us. We, as in DLS, specifically the DLS Cowboys crew, are headed to Las Vegas with true fan travel for the ultimate fan experience this fall. DLS has taken over the Strip for an unforgettable weekend in Vegas, and you need to be there. Join us at as the Cowboys take on the Raiders November 17th on Monday Night Football. The all-inclusive trip includes a 3-night stay at a luxury Vegas resort, game tickets to the Raiders against the Cowboys, VIP parties, exclusive events with the DLS crew, which I can promise you, Clarence on the road is even funnier than Clarence in the studio. And fellow diehard fans, much, much more, plenty to go around on that kind of trip. Maybe the DLS Stars crew can get out on a trip like that, eh? This is how Dallas does Vegas. Book now at truefantravel.com for this exclusive event with DLS Cowboys.
All right, Sam, let's talk about Game Time for a minute. The most recent promotion they were doing had to do about the FIFA Club World Cup matches. That's done and finished. And yeah, our boss, Ben, is a big Chelsea fan. He's over the moon about it.
They won.
They did win. They beat PSG. It kind of surprised him, but that's beside the point, because Game Time isn't just about soccer, although there's plenty of it. And it'll be starting up again in August for those of you EPL fans out there. I know Sam can't get enough of it.
Love EPL.
Let's not even get into Lud's his soccer fandom. But with Game Time, they have all sorts of great things, whether you're talking about lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, 24-hour returns guarantee, job loss assurance, even on-time ticket delivery. How about this? They love their fans so much that they've committed to ensuring that you have an outstanding experience when you buy tickets with Game Time. We're talking concert, sports, theater, comedy, you name it. They will reimburse you up to 110% credit the difference if you find tickets in the same section or row for less somewhere else. So download Game Time app. Use the code DLS for $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms apply. That's code DLS for $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Hey, Sam, what time is it?
Game time. Hooah.
Luds, before we get into Ralph, I don't know if you saw this today, but the Dallas Stars tweeted out a little video as how they let Joe Nieuwendyk know that he was going to be inducted into the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame. Here's what they did.
Somebody's having a party, though. Oh, Scott Howard.
It's all your boys.
It's all my boys.
Congrats!
Congratulations.
For what?
This is a whole thing balloon, buddy.
Come on.
Hey Joe, it's Brad here. I know you're with your buddies and they just told you the big news that you were inducted into the Stars Hall of Fame. I just want to congratulate you on behalf of the organization and the Hall of Fame committee on this great honor. You're obviously more than worthy of it, so it's about time. Enjoy tonight, and I'll catch up with you soon. Congrats again, Nui. Happy to have you involved.
Luds, I have to say, not only is it cool, my favorite part was they say, congratulations. He goes, for what? He has no idea why everybody that he knows is over there celebrating. But there's a lot of guys on the 99 Cup team that when you see them several decades later, still look like they're in pretty good physical shape, right? They haven't all gone the way of some other members of the 99 Cup team that I can think of.
We're not talking about you. We're not talking about you.
One of your goal scorers may have gained a little bit of weight since winning the Cup.
Oh, God, that's a shot. So much for getting him on the show.
I know.
No, Nui looks good. I mean, both of his wrist is looking better, too. I mean, he seems to be holding a couple cocktails there and some balloons, so it couldn't have been that bad.
And cutting a piece of cake.
Yeah, and then a little bow-legged of him. Nui played with I think both ACLs missing. So I mean, really? He played a lot. Yeah, or MCL, something like that. But he had braces and stuff like that. Joe was a gamer. That's all I can say. Joe was a gamer, and now I not only all them things that he has more than me, he's got a bigger, nicer boat than me too. So that's just rubbing it in.
You always notice the best things.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
So we could talk about
Brad saving some money. He could have flew there and congratulate him in person, but he decided to send some balloons.
Do you? There was something that we didn't do on our what ifs, but we could have, and some of our viewers pointed that out. Do you think that the 98 team, the 97-98 team, could have won the Stanley Cup the year before if he doesn't get that knee injury?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, again, I mean, this is no slight against anybody. We felt that regardless of somebody being out or in, that we had enough there that we should have won a cup prior to that. But like everything else, it's a process. And then almost had a chance the year after that. So you look at that. That's just how good those guys were when they were additions on the team. So yeah, like I said, I go up and down and look at, again, the opportunities that you miss out on. Those probably stand out a lot of times more than the ones that you won, because you sit here and go, man, you could have had 3 of them. You could have had 4 of them. But again, you can't complain, because there's a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame, some great players that just never won one. I know that what was big in that year that they beat us in Montreal was for Landon McDonald. Landon McDonald finally got a cup. I believe that would have been his last year, and then went on, he was Hall of Famer in the whole 9 yards. And then I don't know what he's ambassador for the Hall of Fame. I think that's been handed over to Gartner, and did that move on now from him? I'm not sure. I think one of those guys.
I thought Mike just stepped down from that role.
Yeah, I think there's somebody else that's taking that over now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, again, Newey he's a consummate pro. Everything he did was he led. And I don't want to make it sound like he wasn't a vocal guy, because he was, but he led by the way that he led. He went out and played the game the right way and did the right things, did the hard things, got involved physically when he needed to, and he knew when to snap. He reminds me a little bit of Bob Gainey. Bo was that guy that he wasn't that rah-rah guy, and he didn't just jump down people's throat all the time. He found the proper time, and it could be a 3 weeks after something, and then he'd find that time to do that. And Joe was kind of the same way.
You mentioned his time as the GM, and he was the GM of the Stars when I came to the Texas Stars, and I got to meet him on a couple of times where he would travel with the AHL team, and he was, as you said, consummate pro. Took the trainers out for a couple of drinks after a game if we weren't traveling from one city to the next, on the road. Just quiet, didn't have a lot to say, but as you would expect, really carried himself in a really graceful manner. I just wonder if you think that at all, in the eyes of Stars fans, his legacy is tarnished at all because of the circumstances of when he was GM and because of what he had to deal with. Because you mentioned it. I mean, it was very much less than ideal. He didn't have all the ammunition that a typical GM like the Stars have now, right? Where they're spending to the cap ceiling, and they're trying to compete at the top level and not having sort of the restrictions of the league in administration and bankruptcy. And I hope it doesn't, because what he did as a player and even as a GM, it feels like it was a pretty substantial mark on this franchise.
I think if you're thinking about what the fans felt, I think the fans there knew exactly where that organization was. They knew all the problems that it was having. I think, to be honest with you, I believe that some of them probably don't even remember that Joe was that guy at that particular moment, just because of how disappointed everybody was the way things were going off ice. And you couldn't ice a team that you wanted to at that particular time. So I probably would even think most of them don't remember that Joe was there, and that might be a good thing that it didn't. But unfortunately, he deserved another opportunity, and I don't think he really wants to get into that anymore, probably. But I thought for sure, coming off of that and what he did do with handcuffs on, deserved another opportunity.
I teased Sam this morning because I texted him and said, "Hey, did you wake up thinking about Joe Nieuwendyk? Because you did that. I don't know. Was it a month or so ago? You did, or no? Was it when I was on vacation? You did a show with Luds with it. You said I got up. I had dreamt about Joe, and I went, and Luds had the exact same reaction I did. Why?
Yeah, Luds asking why I'm waking up dreaming about older men.
No. I think what I said, if I didn't say it, I meant to say it. Was don't say them things out loud. Like me.
Luds, I say everything out loud. You've learned this about me.
There is no filter. All right. The other one, Ralph Strangis, longtime, 25 years or so, play-by-play announcer, broadcaster of the Dallas Stars, radio, television, the as we had him on. The Mando read has always taken a different slant ever since.
That was called a top 3 DLS moment by multiple fans.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I texted Ralphie this morning when I got the news, and I basically said we'd remember that.
Speaking of that,
oh, look who it is.
Hey, Ralphie, we just wanted to congratulate you in person, Ralphie, about the big. I know it's a highlight of your career, isn't it?
Being on your show?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm actually buying an outdoor table. Can I sit down? Are you guys on the air or anything, or what are you doing?
Yeah, right now you're live.
Great, thank you.
Ralphie, you and I, Ralph, are doing remote flight now. I'm in Wisconsin. Those two bozos are in the studio, and we were talking about you and Joe going into the Stars Hall of Fame together.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very excited. It's quite a fun thing to go in with Joe too. You know, like he's kind of my guy. Newey and I were, we were together a long time there. Well, you understand. What's wrong with did you lose a tooth or something?
What are you talking about? Ralphie, how many gummies have you had?
Not any yet today.
Okay.
I'm going to give Emily my credit card here while she...
Are you on the boat? Are you on a boat, or where are you?
No, I'm at a furniture store. What's the name? It's Leisure Dad's furniture store. I need an outdoor.
Yeah, why not?
So I'm shopping for an outdoor. Emily, last time her fiance Alex helped me. Yeah. So I got a couple chairs from Alex. This is a nice place. So I came here to get a table.
Well,
Why
Luds,
do you think you're missing a tooth?
I don't know if he can hear us, Luds, but tell Ralph that he's the first person to be on the DLS Stars show in like a Inception meta version of being
FaceTime.
on FaceTime into an eCam into our, like, no one's ever done that before.
Well, I hear Luddy. I mean, I can hear you guys, and I see I'm a picture of a picture of a picture. Should I FaceTime Owen?
No, Ralphie, we don't want you anymore. I just wanted to call.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing you didn't take any gummies because you'd be tripping on all these
Go
screens.
get your bed and get a bidet too. Go get a bidet with your bed.
You don't get those for outdoors, Luddy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Ralph,
Yeah.
Ralph, congrats. We're gonna let you go.
Congratulations, Ralph.
Congrats, Ralphie.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
That was hysterical.
I mean,
I want to tell you something. I, in my entire life, have never made a face tube, whatever it's called, phone call.
Tube.
That's the first time I've ever made one of them. I
and
can't
you
believe
did
that.
it live on the air, Luds. Well done.
Yeah. That's live TV, folks.
It is. So,
face tube.
aside from the fact that you guys, of course, get along swimmingly and have some fun, what does Ralph Strangis mean to the Dallas Stars?
Well, he's again. I think him and Razor as a duo obviously were magnificent together. But you know what I remember, especially Ralphie and those guys for, is when they were there and we were young and new in Dallas. How intermissions they would go out and they would talk the 101 stuff. Here's what icing is. Here's what offsides is, and all that kind of stuff. They were the guys, because again, players weren't going out and teaching people what the rules of the game were. Those guys were part of that. They were invested in making this team as big as it is now. And again, they were the two that got the fans dialed in. I mean, and again, they were fantastic together. That's why I look forward to the induction. Those two kind of rubbing elbows and hugging and what they always used to do together. It's going to be special.
You're going to give Ralph a microphone.
That'll be the one time we're probably out of town for something. Although the players all have to be there, don't they?
Yeah,
so
No,
I guess
they
that
definitely schedule that when they're in
Why
town.
aren't we
It's right after a home
live
game.
show. We should be
It
doing
is.
a live show from there.
Luds, are you offering to work on a Sunday?
Why not? What's the
we have
difference? We work when there's games anyways.
Well, they play the Flyers on the 15th of November on Saturday night at home, and then the induction ceremony is Sunday night.
I don't know. I'm not the GM, but I'm thinking it's, maybe 5 blocks from there. Right? I'm not even sure where it's going to be, but you would think this is something that they would, is it at Billy Bob's again?
No, it's at Gillies.
It's at Gillies in Dallas. Yeah,
Kelly, whatever.
Yep.
It's the same damn thing. They're bars.
I believe one's in
know,
Fort Worth,
Yes,
but that's
one is in
okay.
Fort Worth.
Yes, it'll be the Gillies Dallas Southside Ballroom Sunday, November 16th. And they will actually have them on the ice for a ceremonial puck drop prior to the Stars Flyers game on the 15th. And it's the 4th annual induction gala, and they're going to announce the musical guest at a later time. But Luds, I would imagine that the induction speeches by the 2 members of the class will be very different in length of time. Yeah, that is the reaction I was hoping for.
Yeah, Ralphie will go on for as long until they drag him off that stage. You know?
Do you let Nieuwendyk go
but
first?
You know what? I probably got to make sure I get a hold of Ralphie on that day at about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and we go sit down and have a few. Well, Ralphie doesn't drink, but maybe he does the other things. That might make it more entertaining. I'm hoping he talks about his game shows and everything else.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah.
I got to rewatch that show.
Interesting.
That was a day and a half.
All right, we need to do an ad break, but I want to ask Sam what Ralph Strangis means to him next here on the DLS Stars podcast.
Like every other day when I'm on this show, it's a rugged road. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. I'm not even sure if this is what I'm supposed to be reading, but I'm going to continue. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features is its ability to always float upright. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with every adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool up to 7 days, perfect for a variety of outdoor activities from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. The coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road. Coolers, they're reliable, they're durable, they're built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Well done, Luds. I'm going to talk to you about Empire today because it's my favorite read, as we know. It's like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage. Your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today is how you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on just flooring every single day, because we all know about those box stores where you do everything yourself. You end up working with someone who is not specializing in flooring and does something completely different the next day, and who knows what you're going to get out as a result. Empire Today is the best bet for a new floor because they live and breathe flooring. They bring their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home with their awesome designer. You pick the flooring and the right color for your space, and then you can see exactly how it looks with your furniture in your house. Get precise measurements taken and all of your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing, plus you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free at-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLS listeners can get $350 discount when using promo code DLS. Heard that right. That is a $350 discount with promo code DLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DLS for full detail.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Before we get into our next topic, which has to do with RFA arbitration, and we can always push that till tomorrow, although each day seems like somebody gets signed. What did Ralph mean to you as a young Dallas Stars fan?
Yeah, Ralph was the voice of the Stars for me, obviously, when I started watching it. But the key for me was that I wasn't, for whatever reason, whether it wasn't available yet, I didn't have the package that had center ice or whatever. I didn't have the ability to watch any Stars games growing up in New Jersey. So my parents made me pull up a chair. Keep in mind, this is the Pacific Division Dallas Stars. Pull up a chair. I pull up this big comfy chair in front of my mom's computer in the kitchen, and I'd put on NHL radio and listen to the Dallas Stars feed of the games at 10:30 starts against the San Jose Sharks and all those late night games. So Ralph's voice was what kept me up for those games. And then obviously...
That's why you didn't watch Seinfeld.
Yeah, I was staying up watching
Ralph.
those. Exactly. So staying up watching those games, obviously the big runs, the series against the Canucks, you had the Cinco de Mayo games. So many big moments were, synonymous with his voice. And then for me, growing up to see him develop and then hearing all about the stuff that I didn't know as a kid, which is what he had, the effect he had off the ice, with the fans, getting fans in Texas to take in this team and accept them as one of their own. He was a very good play-by-play announcer. I think he was the longest tenured in Dallas Stars history. And then as Lud said, Razor and him were just, I don't know if there's been any better broadcast that I've ever watched. And on the nights where they didn't have the Stars broadcast available on NHL radio, I'd have to listen to like the Flyers or whatever the team was, and you'd have the announcers that would just say, "Oh, and there's a pass to Modano and scores," and you have no idea whether they actually scored a goal or if something happened. So, very thankful for Ralph and Razor throughout the years for making me a Stars fan, and I would not be sitting next to this guy and talking to Luds today if it wasn't for that. So, thank you.
And still dreaming about Joe?
Yeah, and waking up dreaming about Joe Nieuwendyk.
Okay. Just wanted to
That's
make
all
sure.
I do.
Perfect. Okay, guys. I was going to talk about this a couple weeks ago, and then this became that topic that we kind of punted every time we carried over a segment or did this or that, and that's fine. We get better conversations that way. But RFA time is approaching arbitration. What does that mean? RFAs, restricted free agents. Most of you that are big hockey fans or Stars fans have probably heard that term. But what does that mean? Well, it means that the teams still have their rights. They've been qualified. So they've been extended a qualifying offer. There's a built-in escalator in your contract that says that your qualifying offer is such and such percent higher than your previous AAV, and they can accept that offer. And it's usually a 1-year qualifying offer. You can sign it and say, great, that's it. Or you can negotiate a totally new extension for 1, 2, up to 8 right now. That'll change to as high as 7 years after this season with the new CBA. Or you can also file for salary arbitration, where you sit in a room with your representative, a team representative, and an independent arbiter, and you get to basically have a mini trial of whether you're worth the money you're saying you do or not. And Bloods,
the best part about that whole thing is as you sit in that room with your team's representative there, he rips you a new one. He tells you how bad you are.
And why you don't deserve the money you're asking for.
Yeah, good one.
So 13 RFAs officially filed for arbitration. 2 of those 13 were actually filed by the team. But the players are dwindling a bit because they keep getting signed. And the most recent one was Capo Caco for the Seattle Kraken, signed yesterday. So he is off the market as far as needing to go to arbitration. Well, Puckpedia, which is a great site for salary cap information, tweeted out yesterday the actual schedule for arbitration hearing dates. And Caco was supposed to be Friday. They signed yesterday, so he would have gone into arbitration on July 25th. So there are 6 players left, and they are Arvid Soderblom, the goalie from the Chicago Blackhawks. His date is July 28th. Maxim Siplikov, the young Russian from the Islanders, follows him the next day. Dylan Sandberg of the Winnipeg Jets is the day after. August 2nd is Connor Timmins from the Buffalo Sabres. Jaden Struble of the Canadiens, August 3rd. And Lud's, maybe the most interesting for me, is Jason Robertson's younger brother, Nick Robertson, with the Toronto Maple Leafs on August 3rd. And the reason is that I think Nick Robertson brings something to the NHL as a offensive player with speed and some skill and some scoring. He's different than his brother, not the same player, but he seems to be constantly rumored to being traded, not signed, now arbitration, and it just seems like his tenure with the Maple Leafs has been anything but smooth sailing.
Well, he seems like a guy that, whether it's the Leafs or it's the league in general, that for some reason he doesn't fit. Like, he's in and out of the lineup. He can't get the contract that he wants. Don't know the human being. Don't know if he's, one of those kind of guys that says he's supposed to do this and I can play here and be better and what it is. So, but he's not very big. He skates well. Is he a 10 to 15 goal scorer? Is that what he is? Or if he plays on a good team, is he going to be a 25 goal scorer? If he gets an opportunity to get on a regular shift and probably play in the top 6, I don't know if he's done enough to earn that right now. I think there were rumors, wasn't there, that to bring him here and have him and Robo be on the same team together and add a little more of that grit and grind, that 1% that we're looking for up front, I guess.
What do you think about that, Sam? Because Nick Robertson's 23 years old. He is now 156 games into his NHL career. He was in the NHL all of last year. He played a few games in the A, and very few in the last couple, but was like a point a game guy. Like, he's clearly too good for the AHL.
Yep.
15 goals, 22 assists in 69 games for Toronto last year. 14 goals in only 56 games the year before. No, he had the injury and had the season cut short 2 years ago, and that was part of it. But like, to me, it seems like there's something there. He played well against the Dallas Stars. Actually, I think has always beaten his brother when he's been in the lineup. And I don't necessarily think that if the Stars were to look at somebody like him, granted they'd have to get his rights from Toronto, but that he's to be playing necessarily with his brother. But there is a hole right now as our conversation about left wing. What do you think about Nick Robertson?
Yeah, the thing with Nick Robertson is I can't remember if it was all of us on the show or if it was just me and Luds a couple weeks ago, but we were talking about putting players in specific role spots versus, making, if you're in the top six, you have to be a top six talent. This Nick Robertson's that kind of player that could be not a Mason Marchment in terms of his size or any of that stuff, but a guy that he's a hard worker. He works hard. He gets in the corners. He's a better skater than Jason Robertson, as we know. He could be one of those guys that could kind of give you a little more of the work. I wouldn't call it toughness necessarily because it's not, as Lud said,
Gritty,
he's not a big, he's scrappy, little Logan Stankoven in him where he's just always going hard. He wins pucks and he gives you the 10 to 15, maybe even a little bit more goals in terms of skill. It's a good idea for a team, and it's just funny that he hasn't fit in Toronto to me. Like, it feels like,
why is he never used in the playoffs?
I don't know if it's the way they run their team. I mean, they also always lose in the playoffs, Luds. So it's not like they're doing it right. It's not like this is a team that's winning the cup and they're not utilizing Nick Robertson. It feels like maybe they should be using someone like Nick Robertson to give them more of that aspect and less of the just skill at the top end of their lineup. So I don't know. Like Lud said, I don't know if there's a big thing there in terms of off the ice or anything like that. I've only heard good things about his personality and his work ethic. So it's someone that can give you that extra bit of hard work with maybe 10 to 15 goals on your roster. I'm just surprised it hasn't happened for him consistent.
He didn't really get a chance to play in the playoffs with two different coaches that approached the game maybe a little bit different, in Sheldon and then Chief in Berube. So is it a Lundqvist kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They're looking for the size and a little more height. And so, again, if we're looking for this team to get bigger, tougher, harder to play against, whatever you want to call it, or if you end up adding him, are we just going back to when we're going to outscore our mistakes and we're not necessarily going to be any more difficult to play against? But you're right. He does have a little scrappiness to him. Like he's that little tiny dog that's biting on the back of your heels. I wouldn't say Rem and Stimpy, but I don't know what the Chester and what's that other cartoon? Chester and somebody. The big bulldog and the little dog behind Chester Spike. Somebody Google it.
Oh, he's
Chester
talking about the
Spike.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Just like this show.
Well, let's as we look at this though, his last cap hit was $875K. His qualifying offer is $918,000, so just under $1 million. And he would, at the moment, I guess you talk about the style of play. You talk about getting in on the forecheck with speed, and I'm sitting there going, well, isn't that what you lost, although without the size, with Mason Marchment on that line with Duchesne and Sagan? They needed a guy to go in the corners, go chase the puck down, and set up those guys and have some skill. And I know he doesn't have Marchment's physical thing, but I do think there's something there. To me, the big question would be, what would Toronto be asking for in a cost as far as if you were trying to trade for a guy like that?
Do you think he's a little bit more skilled Colin Blackwell?
Yeah.
Good way to put it. Yeah.
I think so.
Speedy. Yep.
A little bit more offense to his game.
Yeah. So
and if you're looking at a player who might be making around $1 million, $1.5 million as a 23-year-old, that certainly isn't something the Stars can't handle in their cap. But
right.
But at what cost?
They don't have to be. Again, for me, I'm looking for a little more feistiness. You know what I mean? If he wants to add that to the mix and probably be more on the end of drawing penalties and taking foolish penalties, then I think it's something where it costs, maybe it fits in. And he may not be a guy that's going to play 82 games. Maybe he's going to play 50 to 60 games. But maybe there's a guy that you give a chance there. I was able to play with the Hatchers. It didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
So, and they're both obviously great players and great people, but brothers don't always seem to work out great when they're together, especially when they're really tight. You know what I mean? One can bring the other one down, and one may be a little bit more like this. And so, again, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know. Maybe there's a few more unknowns for me. It was a guy that we were able to watch on a consistent basis and see what he can bring. It just, for me, I haven't seen enough of him. So
when you look at some brother combos, obviously Jamie and Jordy Ben, that seemed to work.
Yep.
When Jamie was younger, having Jordy around. Obviously the Sedin twins. That's maybe a little different because you're twins, but.
That's definitely using the wrong pair. Now we're comparing apples and oranges there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And they were great players, but
I'm curious because I keep looking at Vegas to see if they're going to sign Brendan Smith.
Oh, to go with Riley.
That was big for Brendan. He said he really wanted to play with Riley before he retired. And I know Vegas lost a big, solid defenseman back there on the back end. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see on that. Luds, you mentioned at the beginning of this segment about how the arbitration can go very poorly for player and team because it can leave some bad blood. Jeremy Swayman went through that with Boston a couple years ago, and that gave him a lot of ammunition before his big contract negotiation last summer, which we covered at length. So, and I look at the players that have signed that avoided arbitration. Bo Byram with the Sabres. Then you've got Capo Caco, we just mentioned, with Seattle. Jack McBain with Utah. And then Winnipeg had 3 players file. They got Morgan Barron signed and Gabe Velarde. I think it's really important to, not that it isn't a tool and you should use it, but I think it's usually a bad idea in the end because there's going to be some hurt feelings somewhere on there.
I think it's a tactic more than it is anything else.
Yeah.
It gives the general manager that window to, push and say, listen, we can go and do this. And you don't know if it's going to go this way or the other way. It's some clown that works at the CVS store is going to be the arbitrator, and he's just going to listen to what we got to say, and then we'll decide what it is. But you're probably going to be in this neighborhood. Would you feel better taking this thing right now than not knowing and getting another $700 or $700,000 less?
Up next, let's talk about some NHL news and notes. A lot to get to. We'll do some of them on the DLS Stars podcast. But first, let's talk about being a diehard. You can do so right now, starting today, for a fraction of the regular cost because it's the Dallas Cowboys Training Camp Special. $36 for your first year of your annual subscription for new diehard members, not topping off your current one. But if you haven't been a diehard before, you can sign up today. Go to alldls.com/intro, and you can pay for just $36, basically the cost of a shirt. You can become a diehard for an entire year. You have access to all the writing that we have. Sam, Sean, Clarence, Jeff with the Rangers, Clarence, of course, with the Cowboys, Tim with the Mavs. And in addition to all that, you get a free t-shirt because you're saying, okay, well, that's how much the t-shirt costs. So that's free. You get all the other stuff. We have a Dallas collection that just dropped last week. New shirts connected with DLS and Dallas. So you could keep an eye on that, which Elijah will show you in just a minute. In addition to that, we're talking about discounts on all of the merchandise, which would be 20% off. You can use the QR code to do that. Elijah, pop up the Dallas collection if you would, please. So there's some of the shirts that just came out. Sam got the one on the top left.
Yep.
I got the bottom right. Lud's got bottom middle, the black one that says Dallas versus all y'all. That's the sharp-looking one as well. But, of course, there's also the other ones, the DLS flag ones, Finnish Mafia, all the different ones that we've done. I like the Otter one a lot that we had during the playoffs. We still haven't made a Moose Mode one yet, but I'm sure that Luds can show you his one of one.
I sent Luds a moose picture from Nashville, and he didn't even answer me.
What do you mean?
Big moose on the wall in Nashville. I was all excited about it, and Luds just, I don't have time for you on off nights.
He ghosted you. By the way, check out the DLS newsletter. It's free. You don't have to be a diehard. Sign up today. DLS.com, alldls.com, and you can just enter your email in for the newsletter, and you'll get it in your inbox at 8 o'clock every morning. All right. Let's talk about some NHL news and notes. This one's NHL adjacent.
I never saw the moose. I was looking at the band.
Oh yeah, that was show. That's why I put the moose emoji in there. So
What are
knew what I
you?
was
Are
putting
you
there.
riding it?
Yeah, I
you
got right on
riding
top of that thing and rode it
You
over
should
the
have sent
stage.
that so Elijah could put it up on the screen for
Yeah.
everybody.
Not that cool.
Hey, Elijah, thumbnail tomorrow. Sam on a moose. For sure. So, Luds, drop that in the group text, and we'll make sure that everybody else gets to see Sam on the moose at some point, if it's funny enough.
You can't even see Sam at all. All you see is 4 chubby fingers in the picture. That's it.
NHL adjacent. Hockey Canada announced 2 days ago that former Stars head coach Pete DeBoer is one of the members of the Canadian Olympic team coaching staff. Now, John Cooper, Luds' buddy, who maybe someday will even join our show because of that connection, will be the head coach for Canada at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Italy. DeBoer, Vegas's Bruce Cassidy, Philadelphia's, that's right, no longer Vancouver, Philadelphia's Rick Tocchet, and Hockey Canada's Misha Donskov, formerly of the Dallas Stars, now has a permanent role with Hockey Canada. They will be the assistants to John Cooper. Seems like pretty much Four Nations staff, right?
Yeah, I think it was the same. I thought it was interesting. I think Sean
Was
put
Tocchet on the Four Nations
Yeah,
staff?
I was just confirming if he was on there. It's
Literally
the
the
same.
same group.
Yep. I was just thinking, Sean said it perfectly. He said, I think he tweeted out something when that was announced. He said, Pete DeBoer is getting paid $4.25 million to do nothing but prepare for the Olympics and then gets a trip to Italy to celebrate it. So I knew, it's not like they would take him off the staff because he got fired from the Stars, right? Everyone knows that Pete DeBoer is a great coach. They had a ton of success, obviously won did they call it the gold medal at the Four Nations?
Gold medal.
At the Four Nations.
There's a trophy too.
Yeah, they got a trophy, but it's crazy to look at that staff. Just like when we look at Canada's roster when it comes out, that staff is it's the all-stars of Hockey Canada. It's always interesting to see how they kind of disperse everything, right? Who does what? Who gets to run certain things? I think Pete was in charge of the power play, I believe, or no, the defense.
No, he was definitely defense.
Defense at the Four Nations. So it's good for him, right? It's good for Pete he's got a lot of time to prepare for it right now without the Stars job. So I'm excited to see what they can do and see if the U.S. gets another run at them at the Olympics.
Well, it's obviously we're cheering for the U.S. to win the gold medal in the Olympics, not Canada, but not surprising to me that after winning the Four Nations face-off that they walk back the same coaching staff.
Yeah, once you're in the loop, you're in the loop there, especially when you continue to win and you have some of the players. It's always nice that those guys can, like Pete and everybody, like when they've got a year or two left on their contract, they can still coach and then still get paid the big bucks. You know what I mean? It's not like signing with another team and losing that contract or that year that you had for your new deal. So I think it's a great way for them to stay involved. Why not? And again, they've had success, and it gives Pete an opportunity to, knock on a few doors or have more doors of his that are getting knocked on and kind of figure out what's his next step. And he's probably looking for the perfect spot. I don't think a guy that I would assume for Pete, the guy that has the kind of success in getting to the playoffs and maybe not getting to the ultimate, but doesn't really want to go to one of those clubs that maybe is a ways away.
Yeah, I was just going to actually ask you, Luds, if you could say yes or no. Do you think Pete DeBoer is an NHL coach by the end of the season?
Well, the way it goes, I'd say yes.
But
then again, I think, but the thing is, Sam, is like I just said, if it's not the right kind of a team, that you're going to take a couple steps back, and next thing you know, you could be 2, 3, 4 years maybe before you even make the playoffs again, and you've got a paycheck coming in right now. Maybe you don't have to jump at that job, and because there's going to be more changes at the end of the season. There always are.
So we didn't prepare on this, but you said that, and I go, okay.
That's just our normal show.
That's right. But Lutz made a great point. I don't think Pete DeBoer is looking to go to a Chicago, a San Jose in their current form. Now, if they took a step and they said, hey, we're ready for another coach, maybe. But he's trying to win a Stanley Cup. He's not trying to build something from the ground up. So I'm just skimming through, and all these teams, there was a whole bunch of changes, as there are every year. So the new guys and those teams are probably going to give some time. Then I got to Columbus, and I think they're pretty happy with Dean Evison, except for if your name is Yegor Chinnikov, because his agent, we'll talk about this later, interesting piece I was reading today about the agent for Chinnikov basically saying he had a great time there, team's fine, doesn't like the coach.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. But, Buds, I couldn't help but...
Yeah, because the coach has got too many details for him.
That's right.
Coach is asking you to be a certain
Go
way
figure,
to have
right?
success.
The two that I just skimming this are 2 or 3 teams that I said this could be a possibility for Pete DeBoer would be, and I'm not saying they're going to get fired just if they made a change. One would be Montreal, right? I know they like Martin St. Louis, but if they decided they wanted to move on from him, would that be a team that's taking a step? Another would be the Nashville Predators. If they decided that Andrew Brunette maybe isn't the right decision there, if they have another tough start, maybe Calgary with Ryan Huska, who's young. I know they're not in that category of right on the cusp of winning a Stanley Cup, or maybe even the New York Islanders or the LA Kings, if they decided to move on from Patrick Roy or Jim Hiller. Those are the ones that just caught my eye really fast. Any thoughts on any of those teams?
Yeah, I would think that I would lean towards Nashville probably. Yeah. The other team, the only problem with LA is they're older. You know what I mean? So there's a few of those guys that probably won't be there in a couple of years. But he's got some time. Montreal, St. Louis ain't going anywhere, is my opinion. I thought he would have walked away a year and a half ago, but he's done a hell of a job turning that thing around. So, but yeah, I don't see any of those other teams being somewhere where they're kind of in that mushy, I think teams that are going to look for him are teams that are ready to make a move. And I mean, by not just getting to the playoffs, but being a little bit more of somebody you have to worry about. And I would think that's what Pete would be looking for. And a lot of coaches would be looking for that. They don't want to get in and have to rebuild things.
What about a team like Utah? I'm not advocating that their coach, like Andre Tourigny, I think got them playing hard. But if they felt like they were stagnated and needed a jolt.
Well, the problem is you don't even have to be stagnated necessarily in today's NHL. You have a slow start. You mentioned Nashville. I would say if Nashville started slow, they 100% would consider a coaching change. I mean, that's not his fault in any way. Like Barry Trotz said that they didn't do a great job of putting that team together. They thought they did, but it didn't work out. But you just don't even have to be that. It's such a quick trigger now, and there's so many good coaches. And you got, like Lud said, you have Pete DeBoer sitting there. So it's kind of like when Montgomery was, when he was available, it's like every team's thinking, not just do we need a new coach, but is the guy available better than our current option? And I think that I would say there's 10 teams that would probably say yes if they don't get off to if it's December, January, and they're struggling or they feel like we need a new voice. Pete DeBoer is available, and he's got a proven success, especially with teams as soon as he takes them.
Yeah, as you guys mentioned, he's getting paid this year by the Stars, so he doesn't have to work, although coaches like to coach, and he has never had a gap as an NHL.
Why would you want to do the Stars a favor right now, too?
Well, yeah, you take some money off the ledger, right? So, Luds,
that would be me. I'd be holding a grudge.
Because it took some time before they ultimately parted ways, do you think any of the teams that hired other coaches might have gone with Pete DeBoer if he had been available before they announced those hirings? Boston, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Chicago, Vancouver specifically. Because I feel like with Anna,
I do. I think Pete has a good reputation with other coaches and human beings. I don't think that Pete is a bad guy at all. And I think and again, his track record of having success and being a winning coach. No, he hasn't won the big one, but there's a lot of other guys that haven't either. I think that, and again, I can go back to just you guys remember Kelly Forbes. Well, I don't know if you do, Sam, but Kelly. Oh, you do? Okay, I wasn't sure if you knew. I'm just looking at the little fawn. I got a doe and I got a buck peeking around the corner. I was talking about something. I don't remember what it was, but it was Kelly. But Kelly had unbelievable things to say about Pete DeBoer. And Kelly was, if anybody doesn't, Kelly was the guy doing the video downstairs and the replays and all that kind of stuff.
We should get Kelly in studio when we're all back here.
Cool.
He'd be a great guest to have on.
He was like, he's unreal. He goes, we're not going to dig into all this and all. Well, maybe you should have. But now I think about it, we're not going to have to do all this and that and stuff like that. So, but I mean, Kelly had a lot of good things for him.
That's interesting to know. I look at the Rangers. They wanted Mike Sullivan, so that's probably not going to change. I think the Ducks with Quenneville, right? They're not going to change if Pete was available. I think Tocchet and Philadelphia are like that. But some of the other ones, right? Maybe if he had been out there. right? Not against Adam Foote, but would the Canucks have been considering Pete DeBoer? Would Boston have gone with Marco Sturm, a very well thought of rising coach? Would Pittsburgh, maybe because of where they're at, looking like they're kind of rebuilding, maybe they wouldn't have, but maybe Seattle or Chicago takes a chance to jump at Pete DeBoer. So I definitely think he would have been
Seattle and Chicago, or Seattle and maybe Boston of the ones that you mentioned. That might be I don't even know if Boston's that close anymore right now. I don't know. My thing is in there, kind of in that mushy area.
I don't think they're going to be that great this year.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is our time for today, but we had a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us, because we're back tomorrow at 2:00 as Sam is in studio again. So we get to do this all over again. We're going to dive in.
Hey, maybe Sweeney's going to end up in Edmonton.
Boy, wouldn't that be? Before we sign off, Luds, Ardell in the chat did say, what happens if Edmonton gets off to a slow start and they fired Chris Knobloch and hired Pete DeBoer?
DeBoer versus Gulutzan on the opposite side.
On the other end.
I'd love that.
I think they're really happy with Chris Knobloch, so I don't see that, but you never know.
He's been coaching, 2 finals so far? I mean, he's been there for 2 years and made it to 2 finals. I think they're okay.
All right, guys, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 2:00.
Thank you, Ralph Strangis, for your surprise visit today.
Thank you to Ralphie. Congrats to Ralph and Joe Nieuwendyk for being named to the Dallas Stars Hall of Fame.
That was a bit unconventional.
25. Luds is our technical director. You're doing a bang-up job. Keep it up. No notes. For Luds, for Sam, for Elijah, I'm Owen. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon right here on DLLS.
We all silly like the mayor.